My name is Ivan Varai Santos. I am currently the department chair of our Ethnic Studies department. I'm also the coordinator for the Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy. Within those two roles, I teach Asian American Studies. I teach Filipino Heritage Studies, which is now called Filipinx Heritage Studies. And I also teach U.S. History, Econ, and Government within the Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy. I want to go ahead and share with you a few things very specifically about ethnic studies education. First and foremost, at James Logan High School, we are still the longest standing ethnic studies department in the nation at the high school level. I believe we still are the only high school that has a full department that offers upwards of 10 different courses for our students. And so the biggest parts, the biggest concepts that we try to educate our students in and get them to understand within our discipline is a holistic humanization, right? We want to make sure that the education that students are getting in any of our courses is a humanizing, that it centers them, that it creates a situation in which the students are valued much more than the content that itself. Because at the end of the day, we're not necessarily about just teaching the content, but we're serving students. Right? We're trying to create fully realized human beings. And so through that humanizing aspect of our curriculum, we also want to be able to develop their relationship with education and to strengthen that education, that relationship with education so that they become lifelong learners, right? And so hopefully with their love for education and learning, that they develop that critical consciousness that allows them to understand the things that are going on around them, obviously through taking a look at the history that they get from our social science courses, and also taking a look at the written word and the culture that they would be getting from our English language arts classes. And so hopefully the idea is that they become agents of positive social change, right? Because it is taught with an ethnic studies and social justice perspective. It definitely brings in approaches from a bunch of different disciplines. We bring in the arts, we bring in sociology and psychology, right? Even anthropology. So we take a look at the education and we offer a more well-rounded view of education for our students. And before I go on to the next piece and talking a lot more about our major concepts and principles that we try to provide for our students, I'm going to go ahead and play this video that clearly represents our ethnic studies department. They actually fought for.
It's a sacred space, a place of solidarity, self-empowerment, and self-love.
Equity,
truth,
exploring identity, social justice, and current events.
transformative,
diversity and inclusion,
love,
grace,
decolonize,
bringing forward the narratives of people of color,
how to be responsive to the world around them critically, and empowerment through social justice advocated curriculum.
It's important for young people to find out the history of their families, find out the history of their people. And if we look at our current situation, if we focus on what's really going on, that we as a community, we as people can come together and make the change ourselves.
I am ethnic studies.
I am ethnic studies.
I am ethnic studies.
I'm ethnic studies.
I am 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 ethnic studies.
And so with regards to the education and the pedagogy that we offer, we're not about the traditional form of education by any means. We definitely like to push the envelope and really try to give our students an approach to education that allows them to put the concepts and the theory into action, right? We definitely want to get them to know and understand what praxis is. Traditionally, with a whole lot of schooling, whether you're taking a look at, social science or even English, A lot of the traditional forms of education is that the old school banking type of education that the students read, they listen, they memorize, and then they regurgitate it. With what we do within the Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy, we really try to get the students to understand how to be critical thinkers, but at the same time, problem solvers. A lot of our tests aren't, your written tests. They're not fill in the bubble Scantron tests, but they're more so project based. Right? We definitely allow our students to take a look at a lot of different issues and concepts and problems in the world, and really try to imagine different kinds of solutions rather than just memorizing dates and names. We definitely allow them to act upon what they learn. Right? And so these are the guiding principles, values, and outcomes of all ethnic studies and social justice education. Right, we definitely want to cultivate community, celebrate the narratives of communities of color and their ancestry. Like I was saying earlier, we want to center and place high value on the knowledge that comes from the families and the ancestry. Right, we want to give respect to every single person and every single belief system that comes through our classroom. So students are able to connect with one another, not only through their own experiences, but through their past and through their ancestry, but also taking a look at movements that struggle for social justice, right? To really understand different communities, different cultures, so we can really understand what it means to be a part of a real democracy. And so in our coursework, we definitely challenge and critique all the things that have happened all throughout history. We want to decolonize our education and really move past the idea that you have to assimilate to a very specific identity in this country, but more so, we want to make sure that the students, their families, and their community are centered in their experience. So we definitely critique a lot of the isms that are there in society. We critique a lot of the ills. We critique a lot of the mistakes that our communities might have made in the past, and conceptualize and really try to imagine new possibilities for our students, their families, and their community at large.
With regards to Asian American Studies, this is our course overview. I've pretty much gone over the guiding values, principles, and outcomes of ethnic studies and the 7 C's as pretty much the guidelines that we follow to go ahead and build the curriculum around. The biggest thing that I need to communicate to you all is our course of study. Before we even start talking about the history of Asians in Asia, also with regards to Asians in the United States, I need to create a foundation for the students to understand what power is and what social justice is. And so the unit is going to be covering a lot of definitions with regards to systems of power, what equity is, what equality is, and the ideas of freedom and liberation. We are also going to be talking about the idea of power and oppression, right? And so, like it says, students will analyze how systems in the US have historically dispossessed, oppressed, and traumatized BIPOC communities. And so hopefully the critical analysis of our identities through the lens of social justice can further humanize our students, understand how they move throughout all the different arenas of their lives into different positions of privilege, as well as situations that might keep them away from different types of power and privilege themselves. After that, we're definitely going to talk about the approaches to immigration, the different waves of Asian migration to places like the United States. We're definitely going to look at root causes internationally that caused migration of the Asian population to mainly the West Coast of the United States. And then we will definitely close out the semester taking a look at our personal stories, the personal stories of the students themselves and or family members that of their choice. The idea is to allow the students to tell the stories of their families, tell the histories and the experiences from their own perspective. So we practice documenting our own histories so that other communities don't tell the stories that we know best. And furthermore, with regards to our final, the idea is to have them participate in a youth participatory action research project, or YPAR. and they're going to be taking a look at some issues that affect themselves, what they feel their communities are, and create educational pieces based on surveys and other research that they do. Furthermore, grading, typical A, B, C, D through F scale. Historically, in Asian American Studies, the average grade is an A minus. Pretty much a 90.3 has been the average grade over the past almost 2 decades that I've been teaching this class. With regards to the breakdown itself, formative assessments, classwork, homework, little assignments here and there make up 40% of their grade, whereas the summative assessments, quizzes, projects, tests, their final make up 45%. With regards to the process, the day-to-day participation and attention, that does make up the 15%. Right? And so with regards to attendance, it's the same stuff that folks have covered in the school handbook, the student handbook, as well as behavior, right? It says follow all school and class rules and expectations. Above all else, you're expected to respect all. All right, so with regards to Asian American Studies specifically, it is a semester class. It does meet the UC A through G requirements, specifically meeting also the Ethnic Studies graduation requirement for all students at James Logan High School. So if you have any further questions or concerns, please feel free to email me at isantos@nhusd.k12.ca.us.